Gloria Feldt is the former president of Planned Parenthood and the author of No Excuses, 9 Ways Women Can Change How We Think About Power. Gloria, thank you for being here today. Now, you have been tete-a-tete, toe-to-toe, right here with the senator on this issue, going back to the days when he was in Congress, not a senator. And this is a change.
Oh, well, I want to say welcome back, John. This is pretty much what he said when I first met him, when I was at the time in Arizona myself. And I met him just after he was elected. His instincts were to say women should have the right to make their own childbearing decisions. But I have to tell you that he has a 100% anti-choice, anti-family planning voting record, and that is the problem.
But he didn't.
But wait.
But he didn't mince words here.
He didn't mince words,
yeah.
But that's going to be the problem for most of the Republicans, is that what this contraceptive coverage issue has smoked out is just how anti-women their voting records have been over the years. And I think women are beginning to take notice in a way they really haven't in the past.
So when you see Senator McCain here in very simple terms, just saying, no, we need to change the narrative here, does this mean that you think that there will be other Republicans also following that line, regardless of what their reputation is or what their record is?
I certainly hope so. But, this is March. November is a long way off. And I think just as the discussion you just had about gasoline prices, the same will hold true for contraceptive coverage. It's up to women. It's up to women who know that access to contraception is what gives us the power and the ability to determine the rest of our lives. We have to tell Republicans, Democrats, independents, everybody that in no uncertain terms, and that we will only vote for people who will support women's right to make their own childbearing decisions.
Well, it appears, Gloria, that message is getting through, at least when it comes to fundraising. Emily's List, their president, saying that fundraising in the first quarter was one of the best ever, according to what that president said from Emily's List. Do you think this is going to translate to votes, since you were alluding to that just now?
Well, the thing is, it translates to activism. And activism is what gets the voters out to vote. I mean, there's no question that the majority of Americans support women's right to get contraception. And the latest Bloomberg poll was very clear that, 70-some-odd% of the voters?
77% is the number that we have from the Bloomberg poll that say this should not be a topic.
Exactly. And but what we need to do is we need to have women out there actively voting. I have to tell you, there have been moments I wanted to go hug Rush Limbaugh's neck for laying bare what this issue is really all about. And it really is about whether women are going to have an equal place in this world and whether women are going to be able to be equal citizens. And that too often gets obscured in the rhetoric about birth control.
I'm going to get to Rush in a second, but you're saying you're agreeing with that poll saying that 77% say it should not be a political topic. But hasn't it aided that movement? Hasn't it brought attention to a major point that is being discussed with social conservatives and the rest of the electorate?
It has brought attention to it, and I think the Republicans want to dance away from it as fast as they can. The Democrats will want to keep it an issue because they're on the winning side of that one, and they know it. So I think we will see this continue.
Are you glad this debate is here right now?
It is critically important. See, I believe, and one of the power tools I talk to women about in my book, No Excuses, is that we need to learn to embrace controversy, not to run away from it, to ride into the wave of it, because it's a teacher. It gives people an opportunity to think about the issues and clarify what they really believe about it. And when it makes you talk about it. It makes you talk about it. And when it comes to contraception, which is used by 99% of the American public, male and female, it gets people to really recognize, hey, I don't want somebody telling me I can't get access to birth control, to plan and space my family responsibly.
So we've got the money coming out. You're glad that this issue is now front and center. You've also written about it. There's a piece today that's coming out in The Nation, right?
Yes.
And you've talked about Rush in that. Tell me what it's about.
Yes. Well, the debate over at The Nation is about whether it's appropriate or not to ask the Federal Communications Commission to investigate Rush Limbaugh and ascertain whether he crossed the line when he called Sandra Fluck a slut and said he wanted to see her sex tapes in exchange for contraceptive coverage. I think it was way over the line. And having had to deal with that kind of attack, that personal attack, I know that while I am a total believer in freedom of speech, there are limits.
Yeah, nobody's come out to defend him on his comments, but you are putting in question here the freedom of speech.
Well, I think...
And I know in your writings you said that was one of the issues. You thought back to the day when you had to think of women's issues and freedom of speech.
Absolutely. I mean, I've been on the front lines protecting women's freedom of speech and freedom to access birth control and information about birth control.
So why is it okay here then?
Because in what I was doing was I was trying to expand women's freedoms and their ability to have opportunities to make their own choices in life. What Rush Limbaugh is doing is creating a culture of hatred, a culture in which women are demeaned and denigrated. And, since I have borne the brunt also of that kind of attack, and I know that it's not long after that I began personally to get death threats. And, when you create a culture of that kind of hatred, that is the fine line. It's just like you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are limits on freedom of speech.
Do you think that the movement, the energy that's behind this right now is great enough to actually remove Rush?
Of course, Rush may be removed faster by the economic boycotts that are going on right now and the fact that his advertisers are getting bombarded with requests from people who say Rush should rush away. So we may never get to that. But I do think there's a chance that if the FCC really looks at the pattern of hate speech that Rush Limbaugh has used year after year after year, I mean, after a while, it really begins to take your toll. And when you look at the data, the fact that two women are raped every minute in the United States, and the fact that there is a culture of acceptance of commodifying women's bodies, you have to understand that there is a connection between the words we say and the actions that we take.
If he corrects this sort of action in the future, if he doesn't make such statements in the future, okay to stay then?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think he should absolutely mend his ways. Redemption is always possible.
Gloria Feldt, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Richard.
All righty.